Hey YouTube! How you guys doing? Happy Mother's Day to all you wonderful moms out there. Today is Sunday, May 13th, 2018. I'm Jared Fuller, and my phone's already a-dinging. So, that's going to have to wait. But anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope your week was wonderful. My week was pretty good. I had written some new poetry for some warriors. Of course, you've seen the poem videos here on my YouTube channel, and I'm in the middle of writing another poem. I'll grab the notebook here. I'm in the middle of writing another poem for a warrior named Bryce, and I still have some writing to do, and I want to get that to the parent as quickly as possible. So that means I have to email it to my dad, and then my dad will have to share it with the parent on Facebook. But I hope you're all doing well, and I hope you've had a productive week. My week was pretty good. Other than the poetry, I went to a place in Flushing. It's called Cops and Robbers Ice Cream. It was a very old police station back in the, it was a house back in the 30s, I think, and then they made it into a police station in the 70s, and now it's just an ice cream parlor. But they had a fundraiser event for Braden Buddy Boy Miller, which you also saw the video clip here on my YouTube channel of the ABC 12 Investigate segment where Brad and Jenny, which is Buddy Boy's parents, they were interviewed by Ann Perrette. And I've met Ann Perrette, by the way. She's a sweetheart. And it was recorded in its entirety, and I tried to hold the camera still. It was recorded off of a cell phone. But nonetheless, it was recorded, and I uploaded it to my channel, and I wanted everybody to see it so that way they could get some education on DIPG and the the numbers, the percentage of fundraising and research. Primarily research, not so much funding, but the research is astronomically, dangerously low. So that's why we raise awareness to DIPG. It is the most lethal of childhood cancers. DIPG is a brain cancer, and it's the most lethal. So that's one of the reasons why. I mean, I'm a Wilms tumor survivor, but I raise awareness particularly also to DIPG and all different kinds of cancer, whether it be leukemia, lymphomas, or whatever. There's a vast array of different types of cancers that plague children. And I'm an advocate for funding and research for every one of those cancers. And I'm drinking Cherry Coke this week. I already drank my Pepsi. I love pop. Or as most of you say, soda. No, here in Michigan, it's pop, man. We're a pop people. But yeah, it was a wonderful time. I had a Buddy Sickle. It's like a blue slush, and I think it's ice cream or whipped cream on top, and it's got sprinkles. It was really good, really good. And then after I left Cops and Robbers Ice Cream Parlor in Flushing, I went to New Lothrop, and I went to Buddy's house, and they were actually getting ready to participate in a volleyball game, which I had watched the news about that last evening, it was on Friday because this is Sunday, so it was a couple nights ago. They were in a volleyball game at, I think it was Flushing High School. I could be wrong. But they raised money at this volleyball game. They raised $17,000. So I'm really happy to hear about that. But I went to Buddy's house on Friday, and we hung out. We were watching Smurfs. I sat next to him on the couch. We had pictures taken, and it was just a wonderful time. I love the Miller family so much dearly, and I there's not a day go by that I don't think about these people. Now, this being Mother's Day, I know I kind of paused there for a minute. This being Mother's Day, I know that this day in particular is not easy, especially for the bereaved moms. And I wanted to talk about that for a little bit, if I may. Darn allergies. This is not, I mean, this day in particular, monumentally difficult and frustrating and excruciating for mothers who have lost children. And if you are a bereaved parent, it doesn't necessarily have to be child or cancer related. But if you lost a child, I want you to know that my heart's with you. And you can reach out to me anytime. But I'm really sorry that you have to go through this pain. I don't know how you think. I don't know how you feel. But in regards to understanding what loss is on a primal level, like I know how it feels to lose people you love. But losing children, that's a whole different kind of pain that I couldn't describe. And one of the key things that you have to remember if you are a bereaved parent, mother in particular watching this video, if you are a bereaved mother watching this, the one thing you have to remember is that, yes, your child is no longer with us, but you are still mom. You're still mom. It doesn't change. It'll never change. You're mom. You gave birth. You had given life. You passed a beautiful baby out of your body. You had given it life. You are mom. Don't forget that. And that's just a message from Jared Bear, childhood cancer advocate, survivor. And one of the, I kind of made a mental note just recently. And I guess I never really understood the kind of impact that when I introduce myself to people, like, preferably the parents of the cancer warriors, I introduce myself. And especially with DIPG kids, warriors, and because, DIPG pretty much is it's a death sentence. So when I introduce myself to the parents of DIPG warriors, I always say, my name is Jared Fuller. I'm a childhood cancer survivor and advocate. I'm thinking I'm making a mistake here by saying that, or just mentioning that I'm a childhood cancer survivor. Because in turn what happens is when I say that, the parents are probably thinking in the back of their heads like, oh, whoop-de-doo, so you're a survivor, big deal. Well, it is a big deal, but I understand how they feel. I can understand where the bitterness would come in, because it's like, well, you survived a different kind of childhood cancer. My child is not going to survive. So I totally and completely understand the bitterness, and I can't hold that against them, because I'm pretty sure if I was in their shoes, I would feel the same way. The same damn way. I'm not mad at them. Although I have to be a little more self-conscious about how I introduce myself to parents of warriors, because I don't want to give off a bad impression or a bad vibe that, oh, I'm a survivor, look at me. There's no taunting going on. There's no touting. There's no look at me, aren't I special? I'm a survivor. There's none of that going on. But when I reintroduced my story into the childhood cancer community, my only goal was to be a pillar of hope and strength and inspiration to all of the families who are affected by this and voluntarily thrust into the community, and that was it. The rest is history. I just wanted to be someone who could inspire. And I think for the most part, by and large, I mean, I've done an okay job by inspiring people, or at least reaching out to people and showing people that they're not alone in this, and they have Jared Bear on their side. Jared Bear is always on their team. But anyway, I guess the point that I was trying to make was I have to be a little more aware of how I introduce myself to the parents of the Warriors. Although I don't really get a lot of complaints. I mean, they see me on Facebook, or they did see me on Facebook, and, you know, oh, Jared Fuller, you know, okay, he's a childhood cancer survivor. Well, that gives us hope. And I appreciate that. I don't have a problem telling people that I'm a survivor, but I'm an advocate for funding and research. I don't have a problem telling people, if they ask me, well, how did you get involved? Then I would say, well, I know what childhood cancer is. I'm a survivor. I mean, when I was at Bryson Ricker's funeral before Christmas. I attended Bryson's funeral, and a gentleman had walked up to me because I was just sitting in the chair, and I was just kind of, you know, minding my business, keeping to myself. It was in a church in Rockford, and a gentleman had approached me when I was sitting down. He says, so I hear that you're a childhood cancer survivor? And, yes, sir, I am. He says, was it DIPG? I said, no, sir, it was Wilms tumor. And oddly enough, a lot of people don't know what Wilms tumor is. They've never heard of that. When I tell people, when I tell people that I had Wilms tumor, they kind of look at me like, what's that? Well, the clinical term is nephroblastoma, but it's kidney cancer. And, oh, okay. So your survival chances were insurmountably better than those affected with DIPG. And yeah, I'm not bragging, but yeah, but I think it's interesting. Like when I went to Flushing, and for Buddy's donation, his fundraiser donation. It's early. It's like 5:00 in the morning right now. But I went to Flushing for Buddy Boy's fundraiser event, and oh, you're Jared Fuller. Even when I introduce myself, they say, oh, don't say a word. I know who you are. You're Jared Fuller. I've heard about you. You're a pretty cool guy. But the feedback that I get from people that I meet in public, or people I talk to on the phone, or, just all the constant interactions I have, in one way or another, they always say to me, we heard about you. You are doing so much for these kids. And although I wish the circumstances could be just astronomically different, they're not. And what I try to do is I try to implement love and family and understanding, because none of us want to be in this group, in this community. And while we're here, we have to lean on each other, because we're all we have. And of course we have our oncologists, but it's a completely different world. And when I have people, like I said, people approach me and I appreciate what you're doing, Jared. I love what you're doing, because with me it's not just some indirect feeling I get from watching a child suffer. I actually was that child that was suffering. And I think the worst part of my journey, not as an advocate, more of as a survivor, is the fact that I have to watch all these other kids suffer. That's probably the worst. If it happens to me, fine. I can handle it. My body's been through so much anyway with chemo and radiation. I don't care about me. But it's when all these other kids and babies are going through this stuff. It is just, it kills me. It floors me, because they deserve so much more. They deserve better. And not to be too political, but we do live in a democracy where, children come first, but yet children get the most injustices hammered down onto them. childhood cancer in specific. And I think it's a crock of shit that we have government that values money over people, which is particularly the driving force behind advocacy. And I always say that empathy and education are the two main cornerstones of advocacy, because you got to have empathy. You got to be open to how people think and feel, those who are directly affected. And education, you have to know what you're getting yourself into. Now, if like in my case, because I know quite a bit about Wilms tumor, and I know a lot about a whole lot of other cancers, like when people say know the glow, I think they're referring to retinoblastoma, which they are, because know the glow is talking about the glow in the eyes. So know the glow refers, it's a catch line to retinoblastoma patients. And while I don't have all of the ribbons, the colors, and what they represent down pat just yet, I will. The ones that I particularly generally know, the gold ribbon is childhood cancer across the board. We've got gray representing brain cancer, which is in May. We have pink for breast cancer awareness, which is in October. March is kidney cancer awareness, which was, oddly enough, being diagnosed in March with kidney cancer. It's just weird how that all came full circle like that. And there are other months and other ribbon colors that I have to familiarize myself with. No, Jared, you're so lousy. You don't even know what these colors, ribbon colors mean, and you don't know this and you don't know that. Okay, so I'm not on the case yet with different ribbons and what they represent, but it doesn't mean I don't care any. It doesn't mean that I'm less caring of people. I don't know. There's always someone to make mountains out of molehills about anything. Even the littlest thing, they will make a big eruption of a deal out of. Because, case in point, people are jackasses. And you just got to deal with them. You got to deal with them as they come. And how could I forget? Don't forget to visit GuideStar.org. GuideStar.org is where you will find all of the information regarding 501c3 nonprofit organizations and LLCs, if they are legitimate. GuideStar.org. It's all one word, and it was at the bottom of your screen. And you have to do your homework on who you give money to, because I'm telling you, and I talk about this a lot. Advocacy is not just educating people. It's not just pushing for funding and research. But it is also about spotting the fakes and the frauds. And I clearly don't have a problem doing that. There's people out there right now who they've snookered people out of money. And then they want to look like a hero in front of other people who don't know any different. They don't realize what they're about. Ready to ball. Yeah. I'll be a good boy now. But yeah, you have to do your homework. You have to know what you're getting yourself into. There's nothing funny about people who use children to avoid consequences for actions. There's nothing funny about people who use children for monetary gain or otherwise. There's nothing funny about it. And one thing I've heard a lot, and it gets on my last nerve, is when you have parents say to me, well, Jared, he didn't do anything to my family. I don't care that he didn't do anything to your family. Well, I do care, but that's not, it doesn't make it right. It doesn't justify just because they didn't do it to your family. Well, they're doing it to somebody freaking else, which doesn't make it right either way. How can you be okay with that? How can you sit back with your arms crossed and say, well, they didn't do it to me. That guy over there, well, sorry about his luck. That's horseshit. You know it's wrong. Speak up and speak out. That's the point. You know, I haven't done a good rant like that in a long time, but it will never be something that I can take lying down. You cannot use children to bank on for whatever the reason may be. You cannot use children to line your pockets and enjoy free paid vacations across America. Because I know they're going to share this on Facebook, and I just don't give a rat's ass. Either way, share away. I want people to know. I want people to hear the message. I want people to hear what Jared Fuller has to say about scumbag frauds. I mean, I know this video is going to get the thumbs down. I don't really care. I don't. But anyway, getting way off track. I don't understand people who how do you sleep at night knowing that you're so damn unethical? And then they want to, well, I'm not unethical. I didn't do this. This wasn't dishonest. Yes, it frickin' was. And you have a whole bunch of people who are saying the same thing. They're not listening to Jared Fuller YouTube videos and making their decisions based on what I have to say. Well, that Jared Fuller's right and we can't trust this guy. That's not what I'm saying, but what I have been saying is that people like this exist and you need to be aware. And enough of this nonsense about, well, they didn't affect my family, I'm just going to wipe my hands clean. Well, I'm sorry about their luck. Well, that could have been you, which should be all the more reason to speak up. Don't be afraid to take backlash. When I was on Facebook and I spoke out about people and I faced all kinds of holy hell for it. But you know what? It was worth it in the end because as an advocate, something that I truly believe in and I stood up for, I faced the consequences of backlash. But in hindsight, the backlash doesn't mean shit because they're only mad because what I say, which is the truth, doesn't fit. It doesn't match their own reality. They want to live a lie. When the evidence has been shown over and over and over again, and there was even, to my understanding, there was one lady who was a mom of a Wilms warrior, I do believe. She actually read court documents. She read the court transcripts in a Facebook Live video exposing my opposition. Duvall! That was the last one, I promise. But anyway, it happened. I mean, this mom is very vigilant. I just hope she sticks to her guns because I don't want her to let her guard down. I want to see this doorknob go down. I want to see him go to jail. I want to see him be extinguished from the child cancer community permanently. Because we don't need people like him. I'll never stop saying what I feel about people who use children for their own immoral, unethical reasons. I just think it's a crock. But anyway, I don't even know what time it is. Let me find my glasses here. Right here. Right in front of me. It is just after 5 o'clock. Woohoo! And I've been here for about 25 minutes. Not very long. I thought I was here longer than that. I'm hoping today, like I said, I'm hoping today I get to take my mom out to dinner after I've had some, after I've had some sleep. I want to take my mom to the Jade Buffet in Owasso and, I don't know, maybe enjoy some casual conversation, have some laughs, maybe have some cries. Been kind of having a tough time lately with just not feeling loved or appreciated by people, but I should know better, because there's all kinds of people out there who love me and respect me for who I am and what I do. I just care about people, and it's hard not to, especially it's hard not to care for people, especially those who are going through the same situation as I did. And I cannot ever fully feed that hunger of making people aware. I can never satisfy the emphasis on telling people I do it because I know what this journey is. And there are many kids who are walking the plank. They're walking a thin line between life and death with childhood cancer. And someone who survived it, I cannot be quiet about this. And I sure as hell am not going to be quiet about frauds and fakes, and then they turn around and try to disguise themselves as good people. They are wolves in sheep's clothing, and they need to be dealt with accordingly. But when it comes to the kids, which should be my main primary focus, they, like I said, they're walking very thin lines between life and death in this journey. And it's, if this were a tightrope, it would be very difficult to maintain balance between hospital and home life and work and regular, family life. It is hard to balance and maintain. My dad could tell you if he was awake. It's going back and forth from work to home to Lansing, back to work to home to Lansing, and it was just over and over and over again every day. And it's a nightmare. It is a living freaking nightmare. And if I could take away the aches and pains of these kids, boy, you wouldn't have to ask me twice. Cherry Coke tastes pretty good even at, 5:15 in the morning. But today being Mother's Day, and I wanted to talk about Mother's Day too. Again, to recap and to reiterate a little bit, this is a very difficult day for a lot of people. I know today may be particularly difficult for my parents because both of their moms are gone. And of course, for the moms whose children have passed away, this is of all days, this is monumentally the most difficult. Although it affects every day, every second, every waking moment, even in sleep, it affects you. I wish I had something more to offer to help. But sometimes the only thing you can do is to just observe. Just sit back and let the parents, let the moms cry it out. And say, you know what, I'm here to listen. I'm not going to tell you how to think or what to feel or how to feel. But I am a listening ear, and I'm here if you need to talk. So I think really that's what they need. That's what they appreciate. They just need someone who will listen. Don't listen to respond. Listen to listen. Because they need us. And that's not just bereaved parents, bereaved moms, but that is people who've lost their moms. They just need someone to listen. And if you do respond and say, you know what, I'm with you. I know exactly how you feel, and it's not easy. It's not easy, but you know what? We try. We find reasons to laugh and to smile. And in the childhood cancer community in particular, it is very hit and miss finding reasons to smile, because you're going to cry more and more and more and more than you've ever cried in your life. It's one of those things where even when you feel you're not strong enough to continue on, you have to dig as deep as you can to find more strength to pick up and say, you know what, I gotta do this. I'm tired. I'm worn out. I am mentally and emotionally exhausted. I mean, I'm down for the count. Calgon, take me away. I can't do this. But I have to dig deep, and I have to find a reason to pick up and carry on, no matter how hard it is. And I think I mentioned that in one of my videos. Or did I mention that? No, I don't think I did. So I guess I just mentioned it now. There are more reasons to cry in the childhood cancer community than there are reasons to smile. And yeah, I'm just a guy who understands. I just know what it is. I know what it's like. I understand the journey, and I can't stress that enough. You know, I do the best I can to help people when it's warranted, especially in that situation. I try to be there for as many people as I can. It gets difficult, but there is a reward that comes with helping people, and that's the reward. I help somebody. And that's probably, it's the most uplifting feeling, the most greatest, most fulfilling feeling you're ever going to have. And although I am sick to death, literally physically sick to my stomach when we have people, parents in this community who will defend frauds, I have to remind myself that maybe, just maybe, they haven't caught on yet. They're going to notice patterns, and they're going to say, oh, I can't wait for you to meet my daughter or to meet my son. They always slip up. And what I'm doing now, and what majority of the people have woken up to them, you know who I'm talking about, come on. And I'm just kind of sitting back with my arms crossed, and I'm not the asshole who's going to say, I told you so, but hey, I told you so. You know, it is so just physically disgusting. It makes me want to puke every time I hear about someone defending a fraud or a fake, and oh, well, no, he couldn't possibly do that. No, you're just, it's a bunch of gossip and drama, bickering. Well, in such cases, when legality is involved, when we're talking about judges and probation officers and prosecuting attorneys and things like that, you can't make that up. Those are court documents, and they are available. They are easily attainable on Google. If you are able to download PDF files, you will find them. Like I said, there's already a mom who She is a warrior mom. I think her daughter has Wilms tumor, or had Wilms tumor. I'm not sure of the status, but I know she's a cancer warrior. I'm not going to mention names, but she also, by what I understand, she works. She lives in Pennsylvania, but she works with the Pennsylvania state legislature in Harrisburg, the state capital. But anyway, I think Harrisburg is the state capital. Boy, I'm going to have to Google that. I think I just gave some false information here. The capital of Pennsylvania, I'm sure it's Harrisburg. Harrisburg, I was right. Okay. I just wanted to double check. I didn't want to get my information wrong. But yes, she is involved. She has her hands tied in state government in Pennsylvania. She works in Harrisburg. So yes, Harrisburg is the state capital of Pennsylvania. Ugh. I wanted to make sure I got that information right, because you know how people can be. Oh, he got that wrong. What a klutz. Yeah, we have Google. I can just, there it is. Yeah, whatever. But anyway. Oh, yeah, she pulled up all the court documents, the PDF files, and she actually went on Facebook Live and read it aloud. I think it's wonderful that people have woken up to a guy who is just nothing shy of a dirtbag. But anywho, I don't know what else to talk about. I mean, Mother's Day it's a tough day, but if I could be the reason that someone smiles even when they're having a rough day, I mean, that's power. To help ease the minds of people who are under so much stress and so much anxiety, and especially on a day like today, being Mother's Day, you have that stress and anxiety, which ties into corroboration with the fact that they have to live with that every single day of their lives. And advocating for something that killed their children, to advocate for the funding and the research of that, that's another cherry on top of the anxiety. And I probably even shouldn't refer to it as a cherry, because it's horrible. It's the salt on the wound, I think, which would probably be a more appropriate idiom to use. It's the salt on the wound. It's early, and I'm just using incorrect idioms, and I can't even speak. Yeah, it's almost 5:30, and I've been here for almost 40 minutes. Yeah, I've been here over a half an hour. But anyway, so that about wraps up this week's edition of the Sunday Video Update. Hopefully today I get to spend some time with Mom. And if you're having a rough day today, I want you to remember some things here, guys. First of all, the bereaved moms today. Like I said, you're still mom. That doesn't change. It doesn't change. Whether your child is with us or not, you are still a mom. Period. And for those who have lost their mothers, I'm very sorry. And I'm also very sorry for the bereaved moms who have lost their children. But for those who have lost their moms, I'm very sorry. And I think the key to getting through this day is just what I said. If you find reasons to laugh and to smile and to take your mind off of it, you know. And it may be easier said than done for me it may be easy for me to say, because it's easier said than done. See, I can't talk. I mean, even with Cherry Coke, I just can't talk. But I sabotaged this Sunday video update. No. It's easier said than done to just laugh and shrug it off. But you have to ask yourself, what would your mom want you to do? Would she want you to go on living life and be happy and healthy and take care of her grandchildren if she has grandchildren by you? I'm sure she would want you to do that. And if she suffered before death, she's not suffering anymore. And I know that it's a cliche and it doesn't always work. But you have to think good thoughts. You know what? She's not in this crazy mixed up world anymore to have to listen to the bullshit and to have to deal with aches and pains and to have to pay bills and to, you know, it's no place for a beautiful woman like my mother. And that's what you got to tell yourself. She was just too good for this earth. She was too good for the world. And now she's you know, she's not suffering. She's in a better place now. But anyway, I'm going to close it on that note. I have got to get some sleep. I'm trying to think of anything else further I could say before I wrap this up, because I'm getting very tired. I'm drowsy. I need to sleep. I need to go to bed. And I'm being silly. But anyway, I love you all. Thank you so much for watching this week. Happy Mother's Day. Remember what I said to you. Remember what I told you. Just keep your chin up and try to have a good day. Do what makes you feel good. You know, that's what it's about. Your mom would want you to do that. And for the bereaved moms, same thing. I think your children would want you to go on living life and raise awareness to childhood cancer. If you are a bereaved parent of a warrior, raise awareness in their honor, their legacy, and their memory. I love you all. Happy Mother's Day. Peace out.